Hi, today we'll go over the two most common movements in barre classes, and I'll show you the mistake that I see the most often and how to correct it. If you stay to the end, I'll explain why it's so important that you avoid making that mistake. Now, the first exercise is one that you'll do both standing and on the mat. Today we'll start with the mat version because there are fewer things to track. And the next one in the series we'll look at standing. Now we're coming to all fours. You want to be sure that your knees have enough padding because we'll be here for a little while. So you might grab a cushion or just fold your mat over a few times. We're going to come down to forearms and shins. And the first thing is you want to be sure you're not too stretched out. Let's really gather the elbows back right underneath your shoulders, get your knees right underneath your hips. And then with your spine long, you want to pull your navel up as high and tight as you can. It's helpful to do this, practice this sideways to a mirror so you can be sure you're keeping your alignment. And the navel is pulled up high. And then we're going to press into one elbow a little bit harder so the leg on that side can just stay in its 90-degree bend and float up behind us. Here's where a mirror can be helpful, because if we're only thinking about getting the leg up as high as we can, we will always take it so high that the back collapses into an arch. So again, pressing through the elbows, lifting through the navel, and floating the leg up only as high as you can without changing your spine. Let's inhale and let that kneecap graze the mat. Exhale, press back up, squeeze the belly. So this is for your glutes and your abs. Everything is always for the abs in addition to whatever else we're doing. Let's do that a few more times, practicing finding that position that's the very end of your range of motion without letting go of your lower back and your core. Deep breath in, coming down. Really thorough exhale all the way to empty. Helps us feel our abs. One more time. And when you get up to that top position, we're going to hold. Now let's just come down an inch with the knee and up. And down an inch and up. So now we're staying at the very top of that range of motion, still really minding the low back, holding the navel up to the spine. Let's do that a few more times. You might exhale on the lift on this one as well, so you really feel your abs. All right, now let's talk about the pulse. The pulse is not a haphazard wiggling around. The pulse is, feel that glute squeeze that has us all the way up here. We're just squeezing that muscle tighter. So when you pulse, don't think about the movement, think about what's contracting. So it's glute, glute, with a little exhale there too. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, squeeze, hold for a second, and then slowly come down from there. Go ahead and take a child's pose. Awesome. Whichever leg you just had up in the air, it can feel really nice to slide your hips just a little bit over in that direction and then reach to the opposite edge of the mat just to open that side up a little bit extra. Now, as we set up on the second side, let's think a little bit more about our arm position. It's tempting to just clasp the hands together and hang out here. The issue is that that's a little bit of a relaxed position, and we're more likely to start to sag into the shoulders. So if we can keep the hands a little bit separated, you could try perfect parallel, but that isn't great for everyone's shoulders. So just get as close to parallel with the forearms as you can without noticing a shoulder too much. And then again, we're pressing through the elbows, we're lifting through the navel. And now the second side elbow is going to drill down into the ground to create extra support so we can float the new leg up in the air. And again, see your profile in a mirror to be sure we didn't collapse any vertebrae. Still pressing strong through the elbows. Let's inhale, graze that kneecap down to the mat. Exhale, press up, squeeze the glute. And again, you should feel like you're running into a hard stop back there because there's only so far each of us can take the leg without the pelvis having to move and the back having to arch. So you're going right to the limit of that and getting a really good squeeze there. All right, on your next one, we're going to stay up there, really feel that squeeze, down an inch, up an inch. Notice there's still some stillness in this. I'm coming down an inch, little pause, coming back up. I have time to really squeeze. So again, don't just waggle the leg around. We won't know what we're moving and what we're stabilizing. super controlled here. 2 more times. Inhale on the lower. Exhale, lift the navel on the lift. 1 more time. Good. And then again, the pulse is not about the movement. Wherever you feel that contraction in the glute, you're just squeezing it as hard as you can. Little release just so you can squeeze it tight again. It's like you're making a fist, but with your glute. First 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, squeeze it, hold it, squeeze as tight as you can, and relax that down. Big stretch back. Again, maybe sliding over to the hip that just worked, crawl the hands off the other way, extra deep breath there. Now the other exercise you'll see a million variations of in barre class is a bridge. And the most common mistake is actually the exact same mistake. If we're purely focused on getting our hips up as high as we can in the air, we're gonna thrust up super high, probably get pretty high up on the tops of the shoulders and press ourselves into an arch in the back, which is maybe great if you're in a yoga class and working on your back bends on purpose. But when we're working dynamically, and especially when we're working a pulse, we do not wanna have any arch in the back, right? It's just gonna be really compressive. So from the floor, take a moment to settle so that we can feel how our bones are landing. What is our nice long neutral spine? And you might put your thumbs on that lowest rib in front and let your pinkies land on those front corners of the pelvis. So we're really tuned into the space between ribs and pelvis. As you exhale, let's squeeze the abs to feel everything in that space tighten up to maintain this relationship. So as I press into my heels, I'm only gonna go up as high as I can go, keeping this space strongly connected. Don't let it break open. You'll know it broke open if you see ribs popping out your front. So ribs stay disappeared down and in. They're sliding toward the pelvic bones. Pelvis is sliding up toward the ribs. Abs are working just as hard as the glutes, just like in our last exercise. So let's just practice that. Inhale, see if you can float down in one piece. So we just tap the sacrum and tail to the mat. Exhale, squeeze your abs as tight as you can as you're also squeezing the glutes to press up. Now, if you do it this way, one thing you'll notice is we're keeping the weight right across the shoulder blades. We're not getting too high up on the tops of the shoulders, which is also better for the neck. Let's do this a couple more times. We should feel like we just land right in our neutral because we were already in that long neutral line all the way up, all the way down. Okay, one more time. And when you get up to the top of that bridge, take a moment, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the abs. Now, same thing, just down an inch with the tail, press up, squeeze. Down an inch, pause, exhale, press, squeeze. If we tend to be a little tight in the hip flexors and quads, we might feel a nice little stretch and opening up here as we keep the abs strong and really squeeze the glutes. Okay, next time we press up, squeeze, same thing. We're pulsing, but we're not thinking movement. You might be barely moving because we're just gripping, tiny release just so we can squeeze to maximum again. Breathing, 8, 7, really dig in through the heels, especially for 4, 3, 2, squeeze as tight as you can. And this time, let's do roll, 1 vertebra at a time, down from there until you've rolled all the way out to neutral and we can relax. Good, go ahead and give your knees a nice wide hug and take a little rock from side to side. Now you might have picked up on it already, but here's the reason why it's so important that we do both of those movements with a nice long neutral lumbar spine and we don't kick ourselves into an arch. You know, there are a million variations on this one too, where we're just taking the leg up and down behind us. If I'm just kicking the leg up as high as I can, watch my low back. I'm getting thrown into an arch, thrown into an arch. As a result, I'm working my low back muscles a lot. I'm working my glutes and my hamstrings way less. I'm definitely letting go of my abs. So what I'm practicing is really contracting and shortening and tightening the lower back while not working the other muscles quite so much. And as I do that, I'm really compressing in the lumbar, compressing in the lumbar. So if you've ever done a barre class or even a Pilates class and actually felt maybe fine during the class, but low back felt tight after, that is probably why. And I don't think any of us need to go in and practice having a tighter, shorter low back while letting everything else relax. Really, the whole point is, can I really work the core in a way that supports my best alignment? And then can I make my glutes super duper strong? So really try to let go of caring about how high your leg goes in the air. Nobody cares, but your low back does care that you're keeping your abs on. Hope that helps.